everyone, welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Ashley Mova, and this is the daily show where we give you all of the latest news from the world of movies, plus a little bit of insight into what it all means. Joining us, as always, is AMC Movie News Editor-in-Chief, John Campea.
Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, coming to you live from right here at the Stream.TV studios here in Hollywood, California. We trust you've all gotten over your sugar hangovers from this past weekend. I haven't yet, but I'm getting there.
And also here, writer-director John Schnepp.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It was awesome to see all the fans of AMC Movie Talk over at Stan Lee's Kamikaze. Thanks for coming by and saying hi. And also, happy birthday, Susan, from the stream.
Yes, that's right.
Happy birthday, Susan! And also here, AMC's Mark Ellis.
Yes, and it was great to be at Kamikaze myself because I got to meet John Schnepp. Oh!
As all of you know, Star Wars returns to AMC screens on December 18, 2015, and this past week a major step towards that launch was achieved as Star Wars Episode VII has officially wrapped production. On Saturday, the cast and crew held an elaborate wrap party at the London Science Museum and took a few pictures that you can see here. John, your thoughts on the wrapping of production for Star Wars Episode VII?
It's real, it's real, it's real, it's happening, it's happening. It's, you know, I talk sometimes about the tangibilization. I made up a word, put it in the dictionary. The tangibilization of these movies that we're waiting for and wanting so bad, you know, because you know in theory it's coming, but it still doesn't feel real yet. Okay, you know they're shooting, that's cool. That makes you feel a little bit more real. To hear they're done. I mean, as far as shooting the film goes, they're done. Now, the long process of post-production continues and editing and all that kind of stuff, and let John Williams work his magic, but they're done. Han Solo is wrapped. Luke Skywalker has wrapped. That is crazy. Although, one of the things that does concern me a little bit, we don't have the picture up here right now, but one of the pictures that came out of that wrap party was a picture of Simon Pegg. Now, there's been rumors about Simon Pegg maybe doing a cameo in the film. And then he kind of just showed up. Now, of course, maybe he just showed up because he knows J.J. Abrams so well. They work together a lot. But, you know, and Simon lives around London. But that does concern me a little bit. Because I'm going to tell you right now, you all know how much I love Simon Pegg. I mean, I've gotten together with Simon Pegg a lot of times. I think he's amazing, gifted, talented, more than just a comedian as well. He's incredible. But I don't want a gimmicky cameo in Star Wars. Star Wars is above that. So I don't want, John Boyega and C-3PO to walk up to a bar where you see the back of the bartender, and they say, hey, bartender, and turns around, and it's Simon Pegg just for a second, right? If they did something like that, it would completely pull me out of the movie. So if you're going to put him in there, do what you did with, why am I forgetting his name? Serenity Boy.
Nathan Fillion.
Yeah, Nathan
sure.
Nathan Fillion in Guardians of the Galaxy, where you don't even know it's him.
Yeah.
So if you do something like that, I'm cool, but please don't do a gimmicky thing. But other than that, so excited. It's wrapped. December is now. December 2015. We always talk about it's 2 years away, it's 2 years away, it's 2 years. No, it's closer to 1 year away now. It's getting there. Anyway, Mark, your reaction to all this?
A lot of the same thing you just said is that this is doable now, kids.
Yeah,
we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And when I first heard that they wrapped shooting, I was like, where are those SD cards and who's protecting them? They need to be in like a case like what you keep the Constitution in. Like, we can't have Nicolas Cage breaking in and stealing any of this footage. This is prize stuff we're talking about. And then I saw the pictures, and it was great to see Mark Hamill and, Evian as the official water of Jedi Knights, and Harrison Ford looked like he had done rapping. What I noticed was it John Boyega with R2-D2?
Yes.
R2-D2, and to paraphrase Luke Skywalker himself, he's got a lot of carbon scoring on him. It looks like that boy has seen some action, and so I think he's going to get his hands dirty again in Episode VII. Again, I'm not even trying to think about the film that much yet. I still just want to think about the trailer that we're hopefully going to get by Christmas. Yeah. And now that the shooting is wrapped, they can use anything they want to give us that trailer that I cannot wait to get emotional over.
Yeah, Simon Pegg, you mentioned him. I think he would be great as a voice, like a droid of some kind.
Oh, yeah,
maybe he's doing a main character voiceover. That could work out, or a latex face. I don't think they're going to use his real face.
I don't want it to be like Desperado when Quentin Tarantino just walks into the bar and it's Quentin Tarantino. It was fun in Desperado, and even like you said, John, how Star Wars is above that kind of cameo, where the Marvel Universe has a lot of fun, particularly the Spider-Man Raimi movies had a lot of fun with cameos. Oh, look, it's Hal Sparks in an elevator. He's a huge fan of Spider-Man. Star Wars doesn't do that, and I think JJ's smart enough to do that. I'm not going to kill the movie if Simon Pegg is recognizable in it, but I think it might be like what Mark Hamill's son was in Phantom Menace, just because, oh, it's Nathan Hamill, let's just put him in this, and it was fun. But nobody knew it was him. I think that's how they'll do it.
It could be also one of those things. I mean, the prequels did have a ton of stars. Ewan McGregor was Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's not an unknown, you know, and Samuel L. Jackson. So I don't know if it'll throw us out, it might not be a cameo. It might be like a full-fledged role.
Well, see, I can live with that, too, but it's just not one of the spinning bartender. Hey, folks.
Head turn in the trailer.
How much do you want to bet, too? Speaking of cameo, how much do you want to bet that I haven't, and I'm basing this on nothing. I haven't heard anybody say anything. You know JJ's Bad Robot Productions, and how much you want to bet there's going to be a physical bad robot somewhere rolling around.
Yeah. Maybe on the new Death Star. Who knows? Yeah,
it is a bad robot.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
The weekend box office numbers are in, with the new Jake Gyllenhaal film Nightcrawler taking the #1 spot by just a hair with $10.91 million in its opening weekend, while Ouija came in second spot with $10.9 million in its second weekend. Holding onto the #3 spot is the Brad Pitt film Fury, taking in another $9.1 million. Holding onto the #4 spot is Gone Girl with $8.8 million, bringing its worldwide total up to just under $280 million. And rounding out the top 5 is the animated film The Book of Life, making $8.3 million to bring its worldwide total up to $69 million. Schnepp, any surprises for you in the box office report?
Well, I guess The Book of Life not doing as well as one might expect an animated film. Also Halloween-themed kind of animated film on Halloween. Definitely the Luigi film, it makes sense that's Halloween weekend, horror film. Where's Saw? I don't know. Let's go see the other version of Saw.
Can you say the Luigi film?
Yeah, the Luigi.
That's awesome.
Yeah, some Nintendo friends would get what I'm talking about. But I'm really excited about Dan Gilroy's Nightcrawler. I have not seen it yet, but I have only read incredible reviews, and all my friends who review films have said it's an incredible, amazing film. So I'm really looking forward to seeing it, and I'm happy that it's making its money. It's an independent film, and to be #1 at the box office means something when it's independent. So.
Yeah, and we should know too. This was a slow weekend at the box office, but the Halloween weekend usually is. People tend to be busy doing other things with their weekend on Halloween weekend than say going out to the movies. But they are happy about $10.9 million for Nightcrawler. Honestly, if you told them they were going to make that 3 months ago, they probably would have a big smile and shaking your hand. That's great. The things that stood out to me on this list are not even in the top 5. They did, which I got to tell you, I knew it was a bad idea from the beginning. They did that 10th anniversary re-release of Saw, and I knew you're overestimating how special of a place this franchise has in people's hearts. It made $650,000 on over 2,000 screens. Ooh. Now, do you remember the other week we talked about Birdman, limited release? Its per-screen average was $100,000 per screen. You know what the per-screen average was of Saw? $315.
Ouch.
When you break it down into the number of screenings, that means for every screening of Saw, there were 6 people in the theater. So if you walk in one theater and there were 12, that means there was a completely empty theater somewhere else. I mean, so that was a bad idea. It did not work out. But the other thing is Guardians of the Galaxy, in its 14th week, made another $540,000 to cross the I wrote down the actual number here, $765 million worldwide to make it the #1 movie in North America of the year and the #2 movie worldwide. Wow. We've talked at length about how shocked and how thrilled Marvel should be about this obscure little title, but now #1 movie in North America, #2 movie in the world. Now, it's going to fall. We got Interstellar coming out. We got The Hobbit coming out. We got Hunger Games coming out. All 3 of those could be billion-dollar movies. Right. But still, this is great news for that. Anyway, Mark, what about you? Anything surprising about the box office numbers?
So you're saying that Marvel made the right play by upping the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 release date a few months?
Yes, that was probably the right move to kick off the summer season of 2017 instead of trail it off. Right. Yeah, big move.
That's right. I mean, when you look at the numbers this weekend in particular, I think the fact that Halloween fell on a Friday day I think that really hurt Ouija because people, they love seeing horror movies around Halloween, but on actual Halloween, they want to get high on sugar. They don't want to go see Ouija, and they definitely don't want to go see Saw. Particularly if you were one of those people that saw Saw this weekend, you walk into that theater and you're all alone, you might think you're in a Saw movie. You're just in this weird dark room, and there's voices. I don't want any part of that. I'm really happy that Fury and Gone Girl aren't just holding on to the top 5 because there's not a lot of competition right now, but the numbers that they're doing, these $8-9 million numbers for how long they've been in release, movies, that shows that people like those movies and that word of mouth is spreading.
It's always great to see quality movies doing well.
Absolutely.
That's always good to see. All right, folks, we've reached that part of the show for buy and sell. Here's how this works. In front of her Ash, she's got a few other items in the world of movie news. She's going to run them down. Then those of us at the table are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Ashley, what do we got?
Following last week's massive Marvel event and announcements, it appears we've just learned of 2 additional cast members for the upcoming Avengers Age of Ultron. In a recent interview with the Telegraph actor Idris Elba, who plays Heimdall in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, said he is in the new movie and shares a scene with Chris Hemsworth and Tom Hiddleston. Neither Heimdall nor Loki appear in the recently released trailer. Mark Byrcell, Heimdall and Loki appearing in Avengers Age of Ultron.
I'm totally buying it. I'm buying it. And put everybody in this movie. This is an Avengers movie. This is the sequel. And by that trailer, it looks like the Avengers need all the help they can get. Even if that includes a certain little brother that it doesn't always play nice with other people. I think when you look at Ultron, I don't think that we need another villain in this film. So I think it's always fascinating. Loki is such a cool character because he can look at what's happening in the universe and say, I think I'm going to be on this side today. Like you saw in Thor in the Dark World, he's so good at playing both sides. I think he's going to be a great addition to this. And obviously, Idris Elba, you're never going to complain about him in a movie. I don't think he's going to have a huge role in here, but it's going to be great to see him.
Schnepp?
Yeah, and I want those helmets. I'm like, I could just walk around as a real human being with a Heimdall helmet or Heimdall helmet, and that would be kind of cool, I don't need to be in Asgard, do I?
We're going to take over Kamikaze next year.
You're in LA, it'll work.
Yeah, I think I could rock that. I think those guys are going to either appear in some kind of a vision via Scarlet Witch, or they're going to just show up at the end. To fit them in any other way, because we know that Thor Ragnarok is coming. We know that Loki is pretending to be Odin. So it's got to either be Thor going to Asgard and they're setting some stuff up. Maybe there's like the doom thing happening. Who knows? But I'm really excited and happy to hear that at least they have a cameo. So yeah, it's the Marvel Universe, cinematic universe. Like, yeah, we got all this happening. It's kind of cool to have those little crossovers.
I think you're both right. I think these are going to be cameos. I don't think they're going to be significant characters. I don't think they could have kept a heavy involvement for both of these guys hidden very well. So I think they probably just did it. And as far as the, I was thinking about the, because the last Thor film ends with him impersonating Odin. And, a lot of people jump to the conclusions. You and I were talking about this, because I know you think the same way that I do. A lot of other people were jumping to the conclusion that, oh my gosh, he killed Odin, and he did this, and he did this. Odin may just be in the bathroom, and he snuck in to sit on and play Odin for a second. Like, seriously, I have a feeling
I'd pay to see that scene.
Honestly, I think Odin's still around. He was just out of the room.
Just constipated. He's like sitting on the pot,
What would have been, if he was in the movie more, what could have been interesting is like, Loki could be of the mindset of like, you know what, no, Earth is mine. So I'm going to help these guys stop whoever think they're going to eliminate Earth or whatever. That would be interesting, but I don't think they're even going to do that. This is going to be small. It's going to be a cameo. Maybe it's an after-credit scene.
Ooh,
And as far as I know, as of right now, Marvel probably has like 18 snipers constantly trained on Idris Elba to say, if you ever open your mouth again, we're dropping you. I got a feeling he was not supposed to let that leak, but I'm kind of glad.
You might want to keep that helmet on if that's
right.
All right, what's next?
The first official trailer for the upcoming Fast and Furious film, Furious 7, hit the web this past weekend. The synopsis for the film reads like this. Continuing the global exploits in the unstoppable franchise built on speed, Vin Diesel, Paul Walker, and Dwayne Johnson lead the returning cast of Furious 7. James Wan directs this chapter of the hugely successful series that also welcomes back favorites Michelle Rodriguez, Jordana Brewster, Tyrese Gibson, Chris Ludacris Bridges, and Lucas Black. Directed by James Wan, the April 3, 2015 release also features Jason Statham, Tony Jaa, Kurt Russell, and Djimon Hounsou. John Byers sell the new Furious 7 trailer.
Surprisingly loved it. Huge buy. I thought, I talked about it a little bit on AMC Mailbag this weekend, but I was expecting when the trailer was going to come out, they're going to go over sentimental and have a lot of slow music playing with slow-mo shots of Paul Walker, or it was going to feel awkward because it would feel like they're trying to cover over Paul Walker. Right. It was a tricky thing to do. Trailer just kicks ass. Just kicks ass, and there's heavy doses of Paul Walker without feeling like they're forcing it or feeling like they're trying to make it emotional or anything like that. They did the movie and Paul Walker and everybody involved justice. And there's something about these these Fantastic Four movies, these Fast and the Furious movies, another FF, where especially 4, 5, and 6, because everybody knows I think the first 3 were garbage. Right. But they found a way, and they continue to find a way to make the absolutely ridiculous seem plausible. Like even you're watching this trailer, it's like, okay, they can drop cars out of planes. We know that, but then everything else that they're doing, like pulling the backs off buses, driving through, blah, 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 and somehow it feels like, yeah, that could happen. Right. I don't know how they do it, but they do it. It felt fun, exciting. You see all the guys in there. I love this trailer. I cannot wait for this movie. So for me, it's a big buy. Mark?
It's a total buy. I'll give them my bank account number if they keep making trailers like this. You made a great point, John, when you said they didn't try to do something out of the Furious box, where they didn't try to go over sentimental. They mentioned that they referenced that I don't have friends, I have family. That was a cool line.
Great line.
By Vin Diesel. But this is fun insanity. My favorite part of the trailer is when the cars are falling out of the sky and they have parachutes, and Vin Diesel still has his right hand on the gear shift. Right. Like shifting into third is going to help that car land any safer. It's just these movies are so much fun to not only laugh at, and you can wink, and they're kind of a parody themselves at this point, but they have fun with it. I can't wait to see this movie.
Yeah, super buy for me as well. It was a very fun trailer filled with action. I love when they give you like, hey, this is going to be like the opening, like this is the James Bond opening. That's kind of like the first minute. My guess is that's how it's a cold open. It's a, hey, we're doing this heist, and you get to see a bunch of that really cool action. I think that James Wan did a great job in directing the action sequences. From what the little snippets I saw, they look great, very impactful, really dynamic. I mean, he's got a great cinematographer, so I'm looking forward to seeing this film. And I also got that little emotional kick at the end when he said, we're family, and they show that close-up of Paul Walker pushing in. So it's like, they did everything possible to make this, to honor Paul Walker's memory in this film, in this franchise, and as a friend. So that's kind of, that they went that far above and beyond and didn't scrap the footage with only having half the film done. That's a big statement. So I'm into seeing this film just for that reason alone.
Yeah. The one thing that I'm a little concerned about, and this is the only thing that really stands out to me about 4 and 5 and 6 that rubbed me a little bit the wrong way, is I get it. The Vin Diesel character, Dom, he's the main character, so I understand you got to make him look tough, whatever. But Dom, who's a guy from the streets and he's tough, okay, that's great. The Rock character is a military-trained, fighting, lethal killing machine, and they had Dom beat him in a fight. Then they go into the Luke Evans character, who is the most dangerous man on the planet, like one of the most dangerous men on the planet, super hyper military trained, combat, blah, 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 and they have Dom beat him in the fight. And then we see just a glimpse that we're going to have Dom and the Jason Statham character, who's supposed to be even more badass than his little brother Luke. I'm just really afraid they're going to have just this guy who's just tough from the street is going to beat him again. That's the one thing that bothers me about these films. I wish they would find some way around it, but who cares? They're still awesome.
Yeah, but The Rock ripped his cast off.
I know.
The
Rock ripping his cast off. I was like, come
Kurt
on.
Russell, Snake Plissken's in the movie with 2 eyeballs.
And he sounds
so
like Snake.
He sounds like Snake. Yep.
Look at us.
It's kind of awesome.
What's next?
20th Century Fox is moving ahead with development of a standalone Gambit movie following the character's introduction in the upcoming X-Men Apocalypse film in 2016. Gambit will star Channing Tatum, with RoboCop's Josh Zuidemer writing the script based on a treatment by Gambit creator Chris Claremont. Should that buy or sell Fox moving forward with a Gambit movie?
Well, I'm going to buy it. I know that now that they have Channing Tatum in, and he's going to be in X-Men Apocalypse, they're going to I'm sure they're not going to spend time with his origin. They're going to introduce him right away, and maybe the Gambit movie will deal with that. That they're giving Chris Claremont a chance to get the origin and the story beats right before it goes to the scripting. I think that's a great call. So I'm excited to see this film.
Mark?
Yeah, hearing that the creator of Gambit did the treatment really gets me excited. I think they're going to stay faithful to that character's roots from the comic book perspective. Channing Tatum, I thought, was a great choice. And seeing him in Foxcatcher, which I got the chance to last week, it's a totally different kind of role. But seeing what an actor Channing Tatum has turned into, I think he's really going to do well in this movie. And look, these are the cards that Fox, with their X-Men slate, has to play. So this is one of the best ones.
Gambit, the cards he had to play.
You win the
that was good.
Man.
Yeah, here's the thing. I understand moving forward with him. I'm a little apprehensive about it, but I have been a Channing Tatum critic for a long time. He won me over once he started doing comedy. Like, once he started getting into comedy, I'm like, holy crap, this guy has found his beat. But I've still never really been impressed with him dramatically. Foxcatcher is going to change a lot of people's tunes. And this is a great example of a guy who slowly got good. now you can let him lead a franchise. You know, that sort of thing with the dramatic acting. And I think once most people see Foxcatcher, there was a lot of negative backlash about him as Gambit when it first came out, because they just think of him as the step up to the Gambit, you know, kind of guy. He's going to have dance-offs with Rogue or something like that. That's what I think a lot of people are thinking. But I think once they see Foxcatcher, I think a lot of people are suddenly going to go, oh, this guy's Gambit. Okay, maybe this can work. So, yeah, sign me up. Seeing him grow and develop, that's what you pointed out. His growth as an actor is what stands out to me the most. And now seeing him evolve and take that with the comedic chops he has, the physicality talent he has, and now with his legitimate dramatic chops that he's developed, I think this could be pretty good.
Yeah, my biggest concern was the accent. Is he going to be able to nail that accent?
Right.
And I think that after seeing what he did in Foxcatcher with his acting ability, how much that improved, we can get this guy Rosetta Stone. Like, that's not going to be a problem to nail the French accent.
All right, what's next?
Alex Garland, who has written such films as 28 Days Later, Dread, and Sunshine, has just been selected by Paramount Pictures to direct the upcoming film Annihilation, the first part of novelist Jeff Vandermeer's Southern Reach trilogy. The novel synopsis reads like this. A team of 4, a biologist, an anthropologist, a psychologist, and a surveyor, set out into a place known as Area X. The area is abandoned and cut off from the rest of civilization. They are the 12th expedition. The other expeditions have been fraught with disappearances, suicides, aggressive cancers, and mental trauma. Mark Byers tells the sounds of Annihilation.
I'm totally buying this. This is right in my wheelhouse. I cannot wait to see this. And I mean, you know, I get excited when I hear suicide and disease and trauma. That might say something about me. But just this as a film and the source material it's based on, apparently this novel reads like a series of journals. So it's almost like a Bram Stoker's Dracula kind of vibe. And it just sounds like such a cool experience where you have people that survived these previous expeditions and they come back, but they're not themselves anymore. Something happened to them. I love going into the unknown. I'm totally paying money for this.
I'm going to surprisingly sell this. I don't know why. For me, look, the one thing that has me really quite fascinated by this is him. It's Alex Garland, because as a writer, he's been great. He's now directing Ex Machina. Is that how? Yeah, he's got the trailer just dropped for that. That's it. I think that creates some interest for me. But I look at this and it feels like this is something that could get out of control really fast. And you know, I'm not completely, you know, dumping on it at all, but just for now, it's going to be a sell. I want to see and hear more. What do you think?
I'm going to buy it because it's Alex Garland. I'm assuming he's writing it and directing it.
Don't know.
Well, you know, I'll just say, you know, with him involved, I think it's going to stay true to that, you know, dystopian, freaky style. And the storytelling of the books, I'd love to see that. The World War Z had that same kind of writing, and they didn't do that in the movie. So I'm excited to see if they try to do that kind of journal-style thing. They probably won't, because that doesn't really work too well. That's a too anthology style, you know what I'm saying? So they'll probably have like, hey, they'll find notes and videos and that kind of thing. So you'll be following these people as they get further and further. It's like traveling from New York to California in 1700s, you know, like, we just want to get there now. You know, that's the end part of crawling. Everybody's dead. There's a creature on their back. I'm almost there.
We just want to pick grapes.
That's right. Let us get to the water. Yeah.
Well, listen, folks. We're not going to have mailbag questions today because we had so much news to cover, but we are going to take some of your live questions. So if you're watching us live right now, you can start tweeting your questions to @AMC Movie News. But before we get to that, 2 amazing films opening in AMC theaters this week. One, of course, is Big Hero 6. This Wednesday, by the way, we're going to have 2 of the stars of Big Hero 6, Genesis Rodriguez and Jamie Chung. 2 of the most beautiful and most wonderful women in all of Hollywood right now are going to be on this show with us on Wednesday. But Interstellar is the other film that's opening as well. Our own Amy Rose Eisenbach had a chance to sit down with one of the stars of that film, Anne Hathaway, and talk about it. And I'm going to tell you right now, I love the trailers for Interstellar, but nothing has sold me on this movie more than this interview. Anyway, let's take a look at a clip of that right now.
What a powerful film. I was sitting there pretty much paralyzed for a couple minutes just trying to digest it.
Yes, I had the same reaction. When the film ended, I was like, huh, that's so funny, I haven't cried. Then I took a breath and I just went, and it just started sobbing, and I didn't stop for 2 days. I mean, it's so, you're right, powerful is an amazing word to describe it. I completely agree with you.
I've never experienced anything quite like it. And yeah, so now you've worked with Nolan a couple times now. When you sign on for a Christopher Nolan film, what kind of adventure do you know you're in for?
You don't. You don't, because Chris's imagination and ability to make those ideas reality so far surpasses what I can do. That you just go, okay, great. I mean, sort of makes sense to me. I'm sure I'll understand it better when we get there. And but you just know that wherever you're going, you can trust the person who's in charge, and that's a great feeling.
Absolutely. So I love so many beautiful moments in this film, and I love when you were talking about love, how it transcends, time and space and all of that. How does that relate to your character and kind of the film as a whole as well?
Well, I think that we've become very comfortable with the idea of categorizing things, and we have become very rigid in our definitions about what things are and therefore what they cannot be. So when we talk about science, we are not talking about religion, and when we're talking about religion, we're not talking about science. And my character sees the Venn diagram where those two not only inform each other, but is incredibly necessary to each other. So she believes in the scientific and the spiritual, and I didn't see that at first about her, even though it's in the screenplay, but I didn't understand that was kind of her own personal mission, was I'm going to figure out how to unite these things. And so once that part of her opened up for me, the rest of the character swiftly followed.
Interstellar opens this week in AMC theaters everywhere. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com for your theater, showtime, and your movie ticket information. And just peruse our AMC Movie Theaters YouTube channel, and you can find the full interview that Amy Rose did with not only Anne Hathaway, but also Matthew McConaughey and a whole bunch of other people from the movie, so go check that out. But for now, I said we'd save a couple minutes to take your guys' live questions from Twitter. We're going to do that right now. So Ashley, what have you picked out?
Zach writes, have you ever watched a movie that made you want to become a better human being?
Oh, yeah. I've talked about this one before. The first one for me that really stood out to me, that's like, number one, I suck, and I want to be better, and I want to make the world a better place. Gandhi. Like that, I remember as a kid watching that for the first time, and it was the first movie that really made me realize what power a film can have. Because, I mean, Star Wars, early childhood memory, wowed my imagination, all that kind of stuff. But it was then when I saw Gandhi that I realized movies can change people. I'm changed. Yay! Whatever. But man, watch that movie again. And so that to me will probably always stand as the movie that really wants to makes me feel like I want to be a better person. Anyway, what about you guys?
I'd go with role models. Seriously,
Yeah,
remember the movie Role
there's some
Models?
serious, real, life lessons
Yeah,
there.
because there's no secret. I'm not a fan of kids. I don't like kids at all. I never really want to have kids. I don't like them trick or treating at my house. But when I see a movie like Role Models, I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should volunteer and be a big brother to somebody. Help them out, take them camping or play baseball or whatever you do with kids, something like that. So
LARPing.
Take them LARPing.
Yeah, we can do that. I can teach a kid how great Kiss was in the 70s.
That's right.
Schnepp, what about you?
I was going to say The Elephant Man. I saw it when I was a kid,
yeah.
and it really made me think about how people treat other people, and it made me hyper aware of that. And it emotionally wrecked me, and just thinking about that question made me think back to that feeling when I was a kid, and when he went to sleep and finally died. I was like, hey, you got to remember to respect other people, no matter who they are, what their opinions are, or what they look like.
Awesome example. All right, what's next?
Andy Voorhees writes, have you guys heard anything about the Friday the 13th movie coming out in 2015? It was announced last year.
If I did... No, I haven't heard a single other thing, actually.
I have.
What have you heard?
I've heard it's, it sounds crazy, but they were like, we're going to do it like a first person, like someone's walking around Crystal Lake.
I think I
with
heard
a
something
camera.
Like a found footage.
Yeah,
thing.
found footage of Jason. I was like, that is the worst idea I've ever heard in my life. For a Friday the 13th franchise, who is running this? It's crazy.
Yeah, the coolest
hope
thing.
you're wrong.
The coolest thing about a Friday the 13th movie is when you get that great cinematic shot of Jason Voorhees with his mom or whoever the killer turns out to be. So I don't want to see that in all shaky cam, like, oh, there's a guy in a hockey mask. It might be a cool trick to have in a Friday the 13th film, have a found footage element to it, but don't make that the entire movie.
Yeah,
And
look,
for
we
God's
found this
sake-
video camera with, says Camp Crystal Lake on it. Boo! Boo! Just get Derek Mears back and make another movie.
Man, I
Come
hope
on.
whoever told you that is so wrong. I hope. But that did remind me, I want to give a recommendation. Thinking about found footage and Friday the 13th, there is an awesome little indie film that is both scary and hilarious. It's a commentary on the whole horror genre. It's called Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon.
I love that movie.
It's so good.
It is amazing.
It is so good. So if you have a chance, I don't know if it's on Netflix or whatever, but look around for it. Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon, completely hilarious, great, observations and
Yeah.
commentary on the state of horror film, and then it kind of shifts gears
Yes.
in the last act to becoming an actual horror film that follows the tropes of the genre.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh, I gotta see
No,
that.
it is a
You gotta
truly,
see it.
thank you for mentioning that, is a truly underappreciated, not even known, amazing film. And it's basically the killer making comments on, Freddy and Jason, you got to do these things. Like, he's aware of all these other legends, and he's trying to make himself
Yeah,
a
it's
legend.
a
He has a
world-
documentary crew following him.
It's a world that assumes that Michael and Freddy and Jason are all real. In this world, they're all real, and he's the guy following in the footsteps. It's a documentary crew following this guy because it's his dream to become the next great supernatural
Right.
serial killer.
And what
It's
tropes to
amazing.
avoid and what to do and what not to do. It's fantastic. Thanks for mentioning it. I love that film. You got to see it.
This
All
is
you guys
why I
gotta see
watch
it.
this show.
All right, let's take time for 2 more quick ones.
All right, Anthony Cope writes, do you think you will see an end of the credits scene in Furious 7 like we saw in 5 and 6, so it leads to Furious 8?
Yeah, I have no reason to assume why not. I mean, they did a great one. I think it was the end of 5 was the one where The Rock's in there and Eva Mendes comes walking in, they open it up, and there's Michelle Rodriguez. And it's like, that was a great end credit scene. I can't remember what the end credit scene, Jason Statham killing the dude at the end. That was another great one Lee's running in. I don't know for sure that they will, but I'm gonna guess yes. What do you guys think?
Yeah, you remember 2 questions ago when I adopted that kid? I'm going to bet his entire college fund that there is definitely going to be an end credit scene after Furious 7. They love doing this. This franchise, like what you said, you didn't like the first few films. The last few ones have found out what this is good at, and one of those things is teasing us for the next movie. There's definitely going to be one.
Yeah, I agree. Fast 8, they're going to sprinkle a little fun flavor at the end. Why not? They've been doing it the last 2 movies.
All right, last question of the day.
Henry Mertens writes, never understood why Disney stopped making hand-drawn animated movies. Kids still seem to love the hand-drawn medium. Thoughts?
It's, the number one, the CG stuff gives the filmmakers and creators a whole new level of things that they can do, but they started realizing when they put those movies out, they were having great success. And so it's kind of understand you go with what's giving you success. I have always believed, and I still believe, that within the next 10 years, we are going to have a renaissance of the traditional hand-drawn 2D animation of sorts. I don't know how long it'll last, but I do believe we're going to have a resurgence of it at some point. But it's just the evolution of the medium. It's kind of like asking, never understood why they stopped making black and whites. Now, the new technology came around, they've had success with it, audiences liked it, and that became the new thing. But I do think we are going to have a resurgence of 2D at some point. Anyway, Shep is a guy who works a lot in animation. What are your thoughts on all that?
Well, I think a resurgence of 2D in what perspective? I would say 2D still exists completely, but it's not hand-drawn with pencil to paper. It's all computer now with drawing literally on the screen with a Cintiq. And when that actually came about, when it went off of a tablet and onto the actual screen, animators rejoiced because now you can actually draw with the pressure-sensitive tool, and it feels like you're actually, nothing replaces pencil. I still draw, when I'm sketching ideas out, I do pencil first, then I go to the computer because there's just a different kind of thing that happens in your brain. I don't know how to really explain it, or within 3 or 4 seconds. So I'm just saying, you're going to see 2D movies, but they won't be true like whatever you expect. Guys like flipping paper, it's people are like onion skinning, watching a quick time of what they just drew repetitive pictures of. But 2D exists, and it's being done now in all forms of animation. So it's not like a 2D movie is like, oh, I want a traditional animated film. You're not going to get that. It'll never happen. And it's just budgetarily. So, but 2D exists. It's only in 3D.
Mark, do you think we'll see a comeback of the 2D films?
I don't see it happening because just from a fan perspective, I think that, little kids might like hand-drawn stuff, but I think that once you get inundated with more Pixar-looking technology, it's hard to go back, and it gets even harder if you're a kid who just wants to see the newest thing. It just doesn't look new anymore, and unfortunately, what makes money is going to dictate what comes out in the theaters, and I just don't think you're going to see a resurgence of that. Maybe little indie sort of stuff, but you're not going to have that big Disney movie like how the Beauty and the Beast and the Lion King were. I don't think that's going to happen again.
All right, folks, well, listen, let us know what you think. Jump in the comments section, leave your thoughts on that or any of the topics we discussed here today, and that will do it for us for this installment of AMC Movie Talk. Thank you so much for joining us. Listen, don't forget, Lots of great films playing in AMC theaters and opening in AMC theaters this week. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com for your theater, showtime, and movie ticket information. You can get your tickets for Big Hero 6 right now, for Interstellar right now. Go and check those out. Also, don't forget, if you want an audio-only version of this episode, look in the description of this video, and you'll find a link to our podcast feed so you can listen to us on the way to work or at the gym or wherever. And also, don't forget, click the thumbs up button, subscribe to our YouTube channel. I want to thank the guys sitting at the table with me. First of all, sitting right here, Mr. Mark Ellis. Mark, where can people find you online?
At 5150 Ellis, Twitter and Instagram, and this weekend I'll be the Pittsburgh Improv, so let's argue about Interstellar live in person.
And of course, the one and the only coming off of Kamikaze, Mr. John Schnepp. Schnepp, where can people find you online?
Instagram and Twitter at John Schnepp and TDOSLWH. And I want to thank everyone at Kamikaze, Regina. I want to thank my gal Holly Payne for organizing all these amazing panels. Thank Kevin Smith for introducing my Death of Superman Lives panel. The comic book men guys, everybody there was awesome. And I look forward to seeing you at all these other sweat cons.
And of course, our lovely host today, Miss Ashley Mova. Ashley, where can people find you?
Twitter, Instagram at Ashley Mova. Happy Monday, guys.
And you can find me on all the various social media networks at John Campia. Thanks a lot for joining us, guys. My name's John Campia for AMC Movie News, and until next time, bye-bye.
Hey everyone, if you liked this video, click that thumbs up button and make sure to subscribe to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It's free and helps you stay up to date with all the latest movie news, as well as our daily AMC Movie Talk show. Also, make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Twitter to stay up to date with all of our special promotions, contests, and prize giveaways.